Well, the probably number one positive thing you can say about the 2025 South Carolina football season is that it is over, mercifully. And it was no different than most of the games out there today. Carolina falls to the arch rivals from the Upstate 28-14. And a game that we said just kind of felt like a microcosm of the season in general. You look at how the game went, just was not enough. And that was pretty much the sum total of this season, just not enough. 2 touchdowns, both on explosive plays. But Carolina just could never get a sustainable drive going, never got in the red zone, turned the ball over too much, and just could not out-scheme what is still, I think, a pretty decent defense with a good defensive coordinator. Carolina falls to 4-8 on the year and will move forward to the 2026 season with a lot of questions to answer and a lot of gaps to plug. So today's game, again, like I just said, a microcosm of the season. Very disappointing. Going into this game, I felt like Carolina should have been able to win this game. You had, I think, 2 teams that were probably evenly matched, if you will. But also, I think Carolina had a few advantages that should have given them the edge. Playing at home again, it was a noon kick, and just for one reason or another, could not get it done. Kind of get your thoughts now on the game and just the season in general.
Can we make this like a neutral site game or something? We can't win it at home. Seems like we can only win up there here lately.
They can only win down here for some reason.
I saw the stat that they've won the last 6 games at Williams-Brice. That's depressing to read.
Extremely. I think there are a few reasons for that. One of those reasons, I think is Will Muschamp, but that's neither here nor there. I would say right now, as far as this rivalry goes, there's a lot that you have to do. You look at what they've done the last couple of years. They've gone out when they've needed to make coordinator changes. They have seemingly upgraded. I don't know if you would say that Garrett Riley has worked out for them, but at the same time, that was the hot name. That was a big name. Tom Allen was a big name. They took care of that with the defense after last season. No question now, Carolina is in the same boat offensively. Shane is going to have to make a serious splash higher, I think, in order to, one, bring confidence back to him from the fans, and just, I think, quiet down the outside noise that's going to clearly be there.
He certainly didn't help his case today, and neither did the staff. I thought it was a poorly coached game, really on both sides of the ball. I didn't like what I saw. I didn't like the protection on offense, especially in the second half. The play calling left a lot to be desired at times, and I understand you're calling Mike Shula's offense. Not sure what the plan of attack was on defense, playing such a soft zone coverage all game, knowing that the Tigers love to do a little bit of a dink and dunk. That's always kind of been their bread and butter is they dink and dunk you to death, and then when they lull you to sleep, they hit you with the deep ball.
Mm-hmm.
Which we did actually a pretty nice job of defending the deep ball outside of the one they hit early in the game, and I think their first drive in the second half, maybe their first drive in the second quarter also, but overall, the stats were there for a good game for offense. Lenore Sellers, I could be mistaken in saying 384 yards was a career high for him.
381.
It was 381?
Yeah.
What did we lose 3 yards into the game?
I don't know. Let me look here back at the individual stats in the box score. Yeah, it was 381. I don't know where that negative play came from, but that's what he ends up with.
just that's enough, but the points weren't. You got to score. Scoring is the name of the game, and actually neither team did a good job of scoring. You take the pick six off the board, and
it's just a one-score game.
Doesn't happen, and it's a 20. They've scored 20 points on offense, and we scored 14.
Yep. Again, kind of a microcosm of the season. The offense just could not do enough to put enough points on the board, and couldn't get in the red zone, and could not sustain drives. And it's just a season that you look back and just wonder what could have been with a better play caller and a better offensive coordinator. We've touched on that at nausea this year. Today, the biggest difference in the ball game that was just the absolute killer was third down efficiency. Carolina ends up 1 of 11, and that one, by the way, came in garbage time. They were 7 of 17, and it just felt like you said, that soft zone that Carolina's defense played in. It was certainly a bend, don't break kind of approach, and for a while there it worked, but in the end it just wasn't enough. And sometimes, you talk about this game being a game of inches. Certainly it goes the way the bounce of the ball, and on that, I believe it was a third down and goal, and they try to run the defensive lineman. They put him in. Klubnik fakes it, and he ends up fumbling it. I think Brian Thomas ended up stripping it away. Klubnik picks it up and outraces Desmond Yu for a touchdown. That's just one of those things. It's like, really? That happens? There were a few plays in there that were somewhat controversial. Don't necessarily want to get into a lot of that, just simply because enough was there for you to win. And you just, whether it be by turning the ball over too many times or by being maybe in some cases a little too conservative, bad play calling, whatever it was, you took yourself out of the ball game. I go to the first play or the first drive of the second half. It is fourth down and what I would like to call maybe about the length of a paperclip. Yes, you are inside of your own 35, but when you have Lenora Sellers, and we have talked about this over and over and over again this season, and I don't understand why they have done this so often. In short yardage situations, they have taken the ball out of his hands, whether it be throwing, but especially rushing. They don't give it to him. They don't call it a just straight quarterback draw for him. It's always an RPO or a handoff or something that just does not leave the ball in his hands. And today was no different. And I'm not saying that was the difference in the ball game. You'd still have to go over 70 yards, but it just does not feel like they are setting him up to be the playmaker that he can be. Now, obviously, you don't want him to keep it in every situation, but it just does not feel like they are trusting him in short yardage situations, which, if you don't trust him to throw, a 30-yard go route, I can understand that. But when it's just, the length of a paper clip, let him be the battering ram that he is built to be. And that just, I don't know, that's just been one of the most frustrating things for me this season. And it just makes you scratch your head at times.
This team, we talked about this earlier, they lack real leadership, man. This team is sharp and soft. I do want to shout out 3 players for their effort today. One was Troy Pikes on defense.
Yes.
Right
there with you.
That dude needed to be playing more this year from what I saw in that game. He's a player. The guy just gets after the ball. Also, Nick Harbor, another guy that just, he wants to be out there. Dude's a competitor. And you talk about a guy that another guy that left it all out there on the field, and you can see his emotions on the sidelines. A guy that was not content with losing was also Vakari Swain.
Yes.
Those were 3 guys that stood out to me as just they wanted it more. And I'm not saying the other guys were lollygagging around by any means, but just those guys were fighting so hard. And obviously a couple plays, Kilgore not Gerald, but Jalen Kilgore made. I would say he's the guy that really wanted it too, but we just lack that vocal leader. I mean, who is that vocal leader? We have no DJ Swearinger, we have no Connor Shaw,
No Nicky Minwari.
no, and we have no. I mean, Pharaoh Cooper. Anybody you go down the list of guys that kind of led by example, and they would get out there. Who is ours? Who is ours?
Yeah, no one has taken the bull by the horns this year, if you will, and said, okay, I am in a position where I can be a leader. I'm going to give this thing a try. Everyone gather around me and follow me. That's what you had last year, and that's why I threw Nicky Minwari's name out there right away, because he was that guy.
Yes, he was.
You don't have that this year, and maybe that's one of the biggest problems that Carolina has had. I know that Lenoris Sellers is not that kind of personality. He's a great young man. I think he's a good quarterback, and I think that Carolina is lucky to have him, but that is something that I think Shane Beamer needs to go up to him and say in this offseason. I've touched on it before. I think back to Nick Saban's first year when he was there. After that season, he went to his quarterback, John Parker Wilson, and said, look, you've got to be a leader out there. And Wilson took it to heart, and the very next year, Alabama wins the West. I think in large part because of that. I think that if Shane Beamer or whoever the next offensive coordinator is going to be, if they go to Lenoris and say that, and say, look, you need to take ownership of this team. You are the quarterback. That's part of the deal, bud. You have got to take ownership and leadership of this program, because these guys will follow you, especially if you start showing that you are a leader. I don't care if you do it with positive or negative reinforcement. You need to be a leader and show them that you are going to take the bull by the horns, that you will not accept failure like this season, and you will be at the forefront of getting it turned around.
I just don't know where we turn from here. There's so much to fix. And not only are you going to have a change at offensive coordinator, but you have the possibility of a change at defensive coordinator, not from a firing. I don't know. There's a lot left to be desired here. And I think you can see a ton of staff changes too with the new OC coming in. I think it's time for Shane Beamer to stop saying, this is who you've got, take them. I think it's time for him to let his OC come in and not just call the shots, but call the shots with personnel, staff personnel. And also, this cannot be commonplace. We cannot have a good season and then take an immediate step back. That cannot continue to happen. Ray Tanner is no longer the athletic director. We don't have an all shucks, golly gee, fundraising athletics director anymore. This guy is not going to accept results like this, and that's not lost on Shane Beamer, but he's got to realize that this is not remotely acceptable. This has to be fixed, and it can't be fixed 3 years from now. It needs to be fixed now.
Especially, and I'm sorry to cut you off there, but you think about the financial investments that they are putting into the football program with the stadium renovations. You look at what's coming. You look at the deal that was just made with Nike. You cannot be going 4-8 on the reg. I'm sorry, it just cannot happen. You look at today. I think one thing that jumps out that has to be addressed immediately and fixed immediately is offensive line. That unit has been so bad for so long. Today is no different. 5 sacks, 6 tackles for loss for the Upstate school. You cannot have that. And again, 1 of 11 on 3rd down. And a lot of those were not long yardage situations. It was just as simple as the Upstate school being able to get penetration and Carolina not being able to push back. It's that simple, unfortunately. And that's how it happened. Unfortunately, especially considering today, I think Russell Faison had maybe one of his better games. 5 carries, 37 yards. He was actually doing pretty well there, especially in the second half, and they just kind of went away from him. And I think one of the reasons they went away from him was, I think, that was sort of when it was getting late, and I think that's when the final dagger was put in and Carolina was just done in.
With the end of the game there, you're like 95 yards. This is not ideal. This is not the spot you want to be in. You cannot throw a pick six there.
No. And then follow that up with a fumble. It's just... And the fumble's not on Lenoris. That was on Nick Harbor. But still at the same time, game was pretty much out of reach. And it's so unfortunate because, again... Shane Beamer talked about it again today. You go into the fourth quarter, you're only down 20-14. You're in a one-score game. You've got to give yourself a chance to win. We talked about this on our way back from the game. For whatever reason this year, last year you go back, this team had that clutch gene to be able to go out late in the games, whether down or just needing to put the game away. And they could come back or put drives together. This team, for whatever reason, just cannot do it and hasn't done it. And for whatever reason, that comeback instinct, that clutch instinct that this program showed a year ago was non-existent this year. I think back to the Alabama game, the A&M game, the Missouri game, the LSU game, today, you name it, there were so many games where you had to maybe mount a comeback or put a drive together and you just couldn't do it and it ended up costing you. And that's why Carolina's 4-8 and not 8-4.
I don't know. I'm just a little lost at where we go from here. There's so much to be fixed, and you just had that hope in the back of your mind, like, man, hopefully they can piece it all together today, provide some positive momentum in the offseason, and just the way the last 5 minutes of that game unfurled could not have possibly went worse. And sans an illegal procedure penalty, they actually win by 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And that negated a big Adam Randall run for a touchdown
right.
in the game. And just a lot left to be desired on both sides of the ball. And just little things like running into the kicker and getting called for roughing and things like that just didn't go your way.
And you will not... I haven't looked at it yet. The way that ball came off, I mean, maybe I'm dead wrong, but I have a hard time believing that there was no way that ball wasn't touched. It just seemed like it was a shank punt, so I have no idea how that ball wasn't touched. And to throw that flag, I don't know, it just seems like that would be a reviewable play, would it not?
It should be.
You would think. But nevertheless, is what it is, and that is all she wrote, basically, in this program now has to turn the page and say goodbye to the seniors that have now departed and move forward to 2026. All right, let's go ahead and just talk about what are some of the things you want to see Carolina do this offseason as far as, let's start with the staff. Where do you want to go as far as offensive coordinator goes?
Yeah, I think I've made this. People that know me well and have spoken to me know I'm kind of fixated on 3 or 4 guys. I think the number one, like, wild card, not wild card, but home run hire you can make. I really like Kendall Briles as a guy I've wanted here for a long time.
I was about to say, you've been saying Briles' name since 2021.
Yeah, I don't know why it wasn't done whenever Loggins was hired. He was Loggins' boss. But yeah, Kendall Briles is on the list for me. John David Baker, ECU, is another
looking at his name right now too.
Another name that I pushed that name out a long time ago, and if he's hired, I'm taking credit for it because I swear I never saw anybody post about him until I think I did on. I think I put him on Gamecock Central and the Big Spur.
One of the big
we're kind of like, and then the other name I'll throw on there. I'm kind of with you on Jonathan Brewer being a really good name, also, and also wouldn't mind Kate Bell from Pitt.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm looking at John David Baker's stats right now, or at least ECU's offensive stats. One thing I'm very impressed with here is, where was it here? let's see, they're in the top 21 in third down conversions. They are tied, and this is before today. They were tied for 26th nationally in sacks allowed, surrendering only 1.36 per game. Give me that all day long, because you look at, again, we gave up 5 today. Our offensive line has been putrid all season long, whether it be with Lonnie Teasley or Sean Elliott. If you want to retain Sean Elliott, I'm all for that. If not, make sure it's somebody good. So I think that is a move that you look at right now. You wonder, are you in favor of wholesale staff changes, or do you think just bring in a good quarterback coach, offensive coordinator, play caller, and leave the rest in place? What are you in favor of right now?
Bring in the OC, let them have or get rid of whoever they want.
Okay.
Full staff autonomy for the OC.
Okay. I'm with you on that. Yeah, I think that, maybe retain one or two. If you want to retain Elliott and Furry, I think that's probably a good move. Anybody else you would like to see get retained?
Definitely Sterling Lucas on the defense. This is assuming we have a defensive coordinator change.
Right.
Which we don't know. We'll see.
Are you assuming we do or don't have a defensive coordinator change?
I'm assuming we do.
Okay.
I just also things I've read, and also I wouldn't be surprised if Clayton gets a head coaching job.
Yeah.
Or I wouldn't also be surprised if he ends up at an LSU or a Florida or an Auburn as DC next year. Also, I mean, it might just be time for a change of scenery for him. And I'm not speaking for him. I hope he's back. But yeah, definitely Sterling Lucas, I would say, has got to be someone you want to keep. I don't see Jeff Collins leaving either. And quite frankly, even if he's not a DC, Jeff Collins is probably on the field next year. But I'm not. We talked about this. I'm not going to lose my mind one way or the other if he were to be promoted, or just if he were coaching linebackers next year. It's fine. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I think you got to make a change at running back coach. Blackwell has been very underwhelming as a recruiter, and also the fact that they played Faison as much this year, and then they didn't play Fuller enough early on. They didn't play Howell enough all season, and it was kind of baffling when these 6-year guys are in respect to Attaway and respect to Faison, but experience doesn't mean goodness.
It doesn't mean anything if you're not built to be the type of running back for the scheme.
Exactly.
We're talking about a couple of different guys. We've talked about John David Baker, Kendall Briles, Jonathan Brewer. Briles is still at Kendall Briles is where right now? TCU, okay.
Now, he doesn't call the offense there because Sonny Dykes' offense, but just to remind everyone that Kendall Briles not only worked under his say what you will about him as a human being, but
his controversial father.
As a coach, Art Briles runs a tremendous system, but Kendall Briles was under, looks like Lane at Florida Atlantic, Houston, and Houston would that have been under Herman?
What years?
That would have been 18, so that would have been...
No, that would have been...
Applewhite?
That would have been after Herman. I don't know how long Applewhite was there.
And also, before you scoff at Florida State, the year he was there, the problem at Florida State was not Kendall Briles. The problem was at the top with Willie Taggart. And he did a great job for those 3 years at Arkansas. Asking Arkansas Razorback fans if they don't miss Kendall Briles.
Yes. They have been downhill since the 2022 season. And that's why Sam Pittman's out.
He went from him to Dan Enos.
Yeah, let's make sure we don't hire him.
Yikes.
So we're just going to talk about national rankings here as far as where these offenses with these offensive coordinators who we've just mentioned who we would like. TCU, which is where Kendall Briles is, ranked 44th nationally. They average 6.07 yards a play. Let's see. Then you move up a little bit to, let's see.
Where's Pitt?
Pitt is, trying to find them right here. I've got the top 50 offenses in the country. Pittsburgh, I am honestly not seeing yet.
Interesting.
I don't see Pitt in the top 50.
Wow.
But I do see Duke at 31st. That's where Jonathan Brewer is. They are averaging 6.4 yards a play.
Baker's at 15, right, with ECU?
Correct. They are averaging, 5.93 yards per play. Let's see, how many points are they averaging? Well, never mind. Yards per. Okay, I'm sorry. It's yards per game. 460.4 yards per game.
Mind you, Mike Shula had 0 games of 350 yards offense. ECU averages 464.
Yeah, that's. Golly, I don't. Yeah, Lenoris had 381 yards passing today, so that should tell you something.
Yeah.
I think. I just don't see how you can go ahead and promote Furry at this point.
No.
I don't think there's enough there to do that without the fans revolting at that point. Yeah, so ECU 460.4 yards per game. Then we move down to Duke, which is at 425.4 yards per game. And then to TCU at 414.5 yards per game. And by the way, what we're talking about right now, any of those three would be great. No guarantee whatsoever that any of those three get the job. So we're just talking kind of out of our rear ends here, for lack of a better term. But just where we are right now, they would be great improvements. And that's all you really want right now. You want someone who is going to come in and start putting up yards, putting up points, but I think also more importantly, along with those other two, get Lenoris right. Because right now, this season, he clearly regressed. I heard his comments today. He said he didn't feel like he had regressed, but the numbers don't lie. The eye test doesn't lie. He is not playing the same as he was a year ago. He doesn't have the confidence that he had a year ago. Someone needs to come in next season and just help him get back to being the superstar that he wound up turning into at the end of the season, and get his confidence back up and get his accuracy back up and help him to, I guess, be able to move around in the pocket and do some of the things that he would excel with. And, given the way that Carolina did move the ball this season, Carolina moved the ball very well this year on explosives. So I wonder if you want to bring somebody in maybe that runs the full spread, 5 wide, air rated out. I'd be in favor of that. But obviously you want to have a ground game. So just somebody that's going to come in and open the offense up a little bit, spread the receivers out, spread the defenses out, and give Lenoris a chance to basically do what he is built to do. And you would think that would put yourself in a better spot going forward next season should Lenoris come back, which we both think he will.
I don't know. I don't know if it's time for a change of scenery for Sellers, or if it's time for a change of scenery for South Carolina, or if it's just a good opportunity for him to declare for the NFL. But there's an obvious disconnect there somewhere. Not that it can't be patched and money talks when BS walks, but I don't know. All I know is the announcement that Shane Beamer is returning means we need to get serious about NIL.
Which we are. I mean, you think about what happened at the end of last season when Carolina went to work and did a very good job of retaining most of the core guys from the offense a year ago.
Yeah, but I mean serious, like Texas Tech serious.
The problem is you don't have anybody that's a booster who is also who's also just sold an oil company. So, yeah, you want to get serious about that. I don't know how close to Texas Tech you can get, but I think if you're Carolina, you certainly want to make sure that you're doing what you need to do with your NIL. Again, especially considering what's going on with the athletic department. in general, the football program, especially with the Williams-Brice project that's coming along. So you've got to you've got to get your fans to open up the checkbooks. That's going to be harder to do now that the season's over and it's a 4-8 season. But obviously, I think most fans realize in this day and age, if you want to play, you got to pay.
There's a lot that's going to have to be fixed with the offensive line to start with. It's time to get serious with a portal quarterback. If whether or not he's back, we need some actual depth at the quarterback position. I'm sorry, but a 6-year senior is not your answer as a backup quarterback.
One that's been bouncing around between wide receiver, special teams gunner, and quarterback.
Yeah, I mean.
Love you to death, Luke, but just absolutely not the guy.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of development to come for Aaron Noland if he sticks with us. He's not a plug-and-play guy by any means.
Yeah.
And I know everybody's excited about Cutter Woods, but he's very young. He's going to have to continue to work hard and put work in the weight room, and I know he will. But let's not anoint him just yet. And then also, I know everybody's excited about Duckworth coming in, but he's going to be a true freshman, so maybe temper your expectations a little bit. Even Lenore's sat as a true freshman. I think he played against Furman and Vanderbilt. So it's...
You talking about 2 years ago?
Yeah.
He played in 4 games. He played against Furman, Vanderbilt, Kentucky, and the season finale.
So I think that people need to temper their expectations a little bit on Duckworth. And like I said, if Sellers were to turn pro or to transfer out, I think there's no point in panicking about it. You have the opportunity of bringing in a new offensive coordinator, and they can bring their guy with them is the good part about that with the portal. Number one. And number two, you can't hold your program hostage for one player, even if that player is that good, because he's gone at the end of the, even if he's back, he's gone the next year regardless.
Agreed.
It's time to start thinking about the long-term future here and not falling into this trap of, well, we've got to do it next year. We need to do it every year.
I'll give you some pushback on that, on the idea that maybe it's time to cut ties with Sellers, because the potential is there. There's no question the talent is there.
Is the leadership there?
That's the big question, though. But the thing is that you've got the talent, you've got the experience. If you can get someone in here that can get him to turn on the light switch as far as leadership goes, you've got a guy that could be all conference. And then not only that, you could have a guy that could bridge, the Sellers era to the Duckworth era, because I think you and I both agree, even if landing Duckworth, who I think is planning on enrolling next month, correct?
It would be next week, right?
That's when he's signing, I guess.
Yeah.
He would enroll in January. So, even though he would be coming in the spring, you've still got him as a quarterback. You need him to take that red shirt.
You better hope he's not starting. And that's no
correct.
That's no slight on him, but you don't want to start a true freshman in the SEC. I mean,
you don't want a true freshman starting, period. I mean, look at Michigan today. I mean, they didn't even score a touchdown against Ohio State. And they've had a really good season with probably the highest paid freshman quarterback in the country.
And nobody's saying, like, man, Bryce Underwood's a bust. He's
no.
obviously got the potential, and he's the guy that's going to be special for them.
Was he ready to go into that game? No. Probably not. Even with the number of starts he had under his belt. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Who would be ready for that game?
Nobody in that situation. But it's going to be interesting. Again, just disappointing that the 2025 season went the way it did. Mercifully, it has come to an end, and all we can do now is just sit back, wait, and we will have a show for you whenever the offensive coordinator hire is made. We'll have a show for you on probably on Wednesday or Thursday to recap signing day, and we look forward to those. Hopefully, we'll have some more positive things to talk about on those days. Until then, it is going to be a long off season, my friend.
Did they just feed the War Eagle a rat?
I have no idea.
I was a bit repulsed by that. Okay, wow. That is something. Anyways, enjoyed the season with you guys. Didn't enjoy the season very much, but enjoyed breaking down the season with you guys. Hopefully we have some news kind of start funneling out tomorrow, and hopefully we can get an offensive coordinator hire that the fan base can unite behind, and or at least we can pretend we can. And we'll just kind of see what happens. It's time to face the music. The season's over now, and the crying season's over. It's now officially the off season. So
it's time for the talking season for Gamecock football.
Where do you go from here? And sorry, forgive me. I'm not buying any hype this year preseason. Go out and prove it.
Yeah, we will be previewing next season at some point. Spring practice will start in, I believe, the end of February. Until then, we are going to be on and off sparingly. Going to sit back, watch some basketball and baseball as they unfold, and just hope to find ways to make September get here quicker. Until then, my friend, we are done.